Salutations, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. V back with another casted game of Lines of Battle, and we already got a new update. Leo is just insane, man. Does that dude sleep? We got the big overhaul in April, and now May 1st, boom, another huge update, new terrain, new UI features, new skins, new avatars, new quality of life improvements, new objectives, and of course, we got a couple of new units who, I don't know if they found their place in the meta yet. Honestly, I haven't been able to play the game at all this past week since the update came out. Work has been swamping me. But Hawk was nice enough to send me a replay showcasing some of the new stuff. So I'm excited to dive in. Let's take a look. And Hawk is in the north of the map today, playing in the color green. And let's take a quick look at his army makeup. He's got a core of 6 light infantry in the center. Now, I don't know if light infantry are the most quality pick for this map. I don't know if he was just kind of randomly matchmaking here, but there's just not a lot of cover for them to use their big bonus. But I don't know. I mean, light infantry, they're still going to do well versus line if they get into a shootout beforehand. But if it goes straight to the melee, they might not be as cost effective as they would be on more dense, densely covered maps. And then when we take a look at Hawk's left flank, he's got a very terrifying cavalry force here. Count them, 1, 2, 3, 4 curs. That is an absolute hammer, and if these guys can get into the back line or get a favorable engagement against the enemy cavalry, they are going to put some hurt down on the red player. But we do have to mention that his right flank is looking quite weak in terms of cavalry. Just 4 hussars. These guys are nice little raiding units, but against any direct cavalry or against other infantry, these guys really do suffer, especially since in this new patch, cavalry have been made cheaper, but they've also been made weaker. So hussars are even more fragile than they used to be, which is really saying something. And then we see, this is the big part. This is the one I'm the most excited about. His main infantry line is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Grenadiers. These are the new infantry unit in the May 1st patch. Now, basically, these guys are a specialty unit that are really, really great on the charge. They're decent in ranged combat, melee combat. They're definitely going to be better than line and lights, though they're worse than guards in sustained melee, but their charge bonus is actually higher. So, I mean, are they going to take the place of standard guards as the backbone of an elite army? I don't think so. I think these guys are going to be a really good specialty unit. You get them in mass, break a front line, open a hole, and allow other units to pour in. But otherwise, I don't see these guys disrupting the meta overly much. And then when we take a look at Hawk's artillery, he does have what looks to be, it looks like a 12-pounder here. Yep, I always get the 12-pounder and the 8-pounder mixed up, but he's got a 12-pounder making his center. And then the other unit from the patch, these are the 4-pound artillery. These two guys right here. Now, the 4-pounders, from what I've been seeing, I'm going to be honest, guys, I don't think these guys have a clear spot in the metagame yet. It seems like they're kind of a mix between horse artillery and 8-pounders, but they don't fire as hard as 8s, and they're not as mobile as horse. I really haven't found a good place for them yet, and I've been looking at, the forums and seeing what people are saying, and the consensus is Grenadiers, useful, 4-pounders, maybe not so much yet, but of course they'll be tweaked. And that is the complete overview of Hawk's army, and he does get a nice hill start here. I would not be surprised if he kind of creates a U around this neutral objective, which, that's another thing I have to mention, is we now have neutral objectives in the game. I am not overly aware of what the buffs are when you take these. I think on certain maps, there's going to be multiple neutral objectives you can take. If it gives your units like a slight org buff, or maybe the units on it get buffed stats, that would be really cool. But I wouldn't want to see them have a massive effect on the map, because then you just see people camping on objectives instead of camping on hills. And that would be kind of lame. But the player in the south of the map in the color red is Maffinum. Pretty good player, around 1600s. I've never seen one of his games before, but he's brought a lot more conventional armies. So we see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 line infantry making up his left flank. We see 3 lights on each side of his artillery, accompanied by 3 more lines here. So I think that's a total of 10 line infantry. He's got no hussars. He has brought 5 dragoons, 2 lancers. So in terms of cavalry, I'd probably give the edge to Hawk. Just because of those fur quarters, they're going to be able to do so much work. And even if the hussars are able to kind of get around and get a flank on some of those other cav, they'll still be useful. But if the hussars get caught in the frontal charge, it could be bad. And then meanwhile, the artillery, no crazy stuff, just 1, 2 12-pounders, and then 1 guard here. And I don't know, in terms of composition, I'm not loving it. I don't think this cavalry makeup is one I would go with. I wouldn't really go with Goons Lancers as my main combo. I really like Cur Lancer, and I really like just straight Goon for a kind of an overall, master of none, good at all sort of cav build. But Goon and Lancer just doesn't, I don't know, it lacks punch. From what I see. But let's dive into the match. Let's see how these guys deploy. Okay, so very, very basic deployment here. And if I were red, I mean, if you guys were red, tell me in the comments below, where would you deploy here? I think it's really tempting to hill camp, right? And I mean, you could make a really decent line. You do outnumber his long-range guns 2 to 1, though he does have more guns in general. But I like that Red's pushing forward here. I like that he's trying to capture the objective, though I don't know how helpful that's going to be because he's going to get caught downhill because Hawk is certainly going to answer this threat. He's probably going to fan out here. He's going to use the river to anchor his left, and then he's probably going to use, look at this. Okay, so look at how Hawk is moving all of his cavalry to the right. He sees that this ground out here, is ideal cavalry ground, and so that's where his main punch is going to be. And with the river anchoring his left, he's not really going to have to worry about flanking maneuvers coming very quickly. So really nice adjustment there by Hawk, and we'll have to see what Maffinum does. He just has all of his cavalry in the back, which I think is an okay move because he doesn't have the cavalry advantage, so just use them to plug gaps. Don't get them in an engagement which they cannot win anyways. So let's take a look. Okay, both armies continuing to fan out, Hawk continuing to move his cavalry to the right, and light infantry all moving in one lines, 4-pounders moving up, but it looks like Mafi now taking the neutral objective. And let's take a look at this infantry deployment. I really have a problem with the way Mafi is deploying his infantry. We can see here that his left flank is being laid out quite nicely, but his right flank is very delayed. And if we take an engagement in the next couple of turns here, Hawk has a really juicy opportunity to just swing his left around and get a decisive attack, even before the cavalry gets engaged. Now, it seems like Mafi is going to move his cavalry to his own right, so it's going to be an opposite flank cavalry layout. But I don't think that's going to be as effective as he thinks, because again, he's just not going to have nearly as much room to maneuver over here as Hawk will over here. But I don't know, maybe he's going to split up his cav because he does have all his dragoons. So maybe just forget everything I just said, but I don't know. I feel like a cavalry engagement out here is just asking for trouble. But we'll have to see. 4-pounders now getting engaged. Yeah, and I mean, I'm really unimpressed by the damage that the 4-pounders do. I mean, just look at the and these guys are actually pretty short range. So I don't know, 4-pounders, I just don't get really what they're for. Are they meant to be like specialist mobile units? Well, then why not just bring horse artillery for a little bit extra? But again, Mafi not bringing up his right, that has me very, very worried. And look at all these lights just fanning out. And because they really don't have a significant cavalry threat yet, I think these guys are going to be able to do a lot of damage very quickly. Now, Hawk does have some exposed guns here, which I think could pose a problem if a frontal charge comes quickly. But I think he's smart enough to pull him back, keeping his curs for the final moment. Hawk does this all the time. He has this habit of always keeping his curs back for the final decisive charge. He doesn't get them engaged right away. And, I mean, usually it works out well for him. All right, charge coming in. light infantry getting engaged here. Right flank now getting aligned. Okay, now we're seeing the main engagement, and Mafi not really getting his artillery into position quickly, though this 12-pounder is going to have a beautiful vantage point right over here. That's going to be excellent for him, and then maybe he could set up his second gun right around here. But he's going to have a nice artillery battery, though, I mean, the engagement has already taken place, 4-pounder taking damage, and now that this one unit is taking 2 4-pounders worth of canister, it is starting to take significant damage, but still, I don't know. It feels a little bit lackluster. I think these guys might end up needing to get buffed a little bit. But they are pretty cheap for artillery, so I guess you got that going for you. But, you know, when it comes to cost of artillery, you know artillery is going to be expensive in gold, so just pay for quality. And when we take a look at this infantry on the left flank, lines versus lights, I think Hawk should probably pull back here. I think he should get at least 1 or 2 rounds of ranged combat in, and then maybe take that charge. Though I do see maybe he wants to keep this gap closed and not allow the artillery to get charged in. But I mean, he's got plenty of cavalry support, so I don't think that would be a huge issue. I'm really excited to see what these grenadiers do. They're being held back for the decisive charge, but I'm really looking forward to when these guys fix bayonets. But these 12-pounders going to be in position soon, so Hawk can't wait around for too long. All right, light infantry getting engaged. Mafi not taking a bayonet charge here, and oh man, the local superiority here from Hawk, who, oh, grenadiers are coming in, and these guys, they have like 42 charge bonus. Actually, it might be more than that, but look at this, the center already breaking for Mafi, and this just goes back to local superiority. Because his right flank was so slow in getting to the battlefield, Hawk felt very comfortable just leaving a small vanguard here and really pinning down the right flank, and we're seeing the culmination of that move because, I mean, yes, he's bringing up cavalry for support, but this right flank is going to collapse. I mean, the light infantry are going to dominate. Yes, a couple of units are starting to get a little bit low on org, but there's plenty of reinforcements. Grenadiers coming up the gut. Cannons are safe. 12-pounders really haven't gotten a lot of shooting potential off, and this is looking really good for Hawk. Grenadiers coming in now, going in for range combat, but now we see the Curs going in, and just like I said, being held for the big moment and charging light infantry in the open. And that's why light infantry on this map actually doesn't feel super ideal. Though, I mean, there is a bit of a flanking guard here moving up on the right, but I mean, what are these guys going to do? Okay, they take the 12-pounder, but is that really worth the cost of your entire left flank? I don't think so. Dragoons coming in to seal up the gap, but these Curs are going to get a beautiful engagement, and the lights are going to be able to hold out long enough against these lines. They got off plenty of ranged attacks. The 4-pounders, and not doing a lot, but they are doing some supplementary damage, and these Grenadiers, I have not gotten to see them really in action. I want to see these guys charge. Continuing to ranged attack. Grenadiers getting involved, and ooh, that is a really nice charge bonus. You can see the org of that light infantry going down quite a bit on that frontal charge. Now, I'm guessing if it had had more momentum, it would have been even more devastating. But yeah, I mean, the Grenadiers, again, I'm not blown away. I don't think they're better than guards. I think they're a specialty unit. They're a guard that sacrifices, you know, utility for those more decisive kind of melee fights, which happen a lot in lines of battle. So kind of an all-purpose unit, but not as all-purpose as guards, which are just the sturdy staple of any good game. And yeah, this left flank is crumbling, and it is crumbling fast. Now, the right flank for Hawk, or for Mafi, excuse me, it is looking pretty nice, but I mean, the trade here is just brutal. I mean, we're already looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 5 units broken. Artillery has been overrun. The Lancers have not really gotten any big charges, although this Lancer did get a nice charge on this Grenadier. And yeah, I think we're into the cleanup phase now for Hawk. Look at that. Yeah, Grenadiers continuing to fire, now getting into melee range, doing what they do best, and the light infantry continuing to pick off the stragglers. And that was a short, decisive game by Hawk. And I think eventually I have to just show one of Hawk's losses because I think people think I'm just out here to brag about Hawk's gameplay, which I am not. Though I do want to show the advanced stats here. So now, rather than just the losses, we have a bit more of a detailed breakdown. So we see the amount of cavalry, 2,000 to 1,750. So not only did Hawk have more cavalry, but he had superior cavalry in the forms of his curs. The guns were equal, though. I'm going to say it one more time. I don't see much utility for the 4-pounders, guys. If you really love them, sorry. But yeah, they seem a bit impotent to me. I feel like horse artillery do the same thing, more maneuverable, better damage, better range. I just don't see a use for them. And then we also see the casualties as usual, and then we see the horses lost as well as the guns lost. And it seems like the guns lost actually has a bit more detail, because I thought the guns lost usually only did terms of 4. So I guess that's maybe a little bit different, but I definitely like the cavalry stats. It's nice to see, how those engagements went, how slanted they were either way. And yeah, just a clean win and a nice showcase of the new units. So if I had to make a tier list of the units of lines of battle, which honestly, do you guys want to see that? I kind of want to make a tier list of the units of lines of battle. But if I were to put these guys in a tier list right now, I would say Grens, they are a solid high B, low A. They seem decent. And 4-pounders, I definitely got to put them in C or D tier. Depending on how low you go. Though, I really don't think there's any, F tier units in this game. Maybe militia, but they're meant to be that way. But guys, I hope you enjoyed this casted game. If you got a casted game you want to show me, just leave a link to it in the comments below. Give me a little description of what the battle's like, and I'd be happy to take a look at it. But until next time, have a great day. Have a great life. See you later.